Hello, welcome to this mini-series. I guess I'm calling it a remastering, which sounds fantastic. So this is a mini-series I recorded on Facebook Lives over 5 consecutive days, 2+ years ago. And the biggest thing to note is that I do not have a beard. So warning, I do not have. You've probably seen it already. So it's funny. It made me giggle a bit. So and I'm a bit fuller in the face as well. So enjoy those two aspects. The reason I'm remastering, which is I like that phrase. I'm hanging on to that. The reason I'm doing that is that it gives great value. All right, I put a lot into these 5 different aspects to share with you, and because they're on Facebook Lives, I did a sequence so I could give it to people on Messenger, and that worked for the first year. Lots of people have been through it. Maybe you have as well, but then because of Facebook Lives, it just gets lost in Facebook, so it doesn't have any viewers now because it is just lost in the system. So what I've done is dug them out, just downloaded them and plonked them here for you, for access, to be able to educate and give that value for free. It's something I'm really passionate about, something I know a lot about. This is what I do. I've focused my time on this completely now. I've dedicated myself to this, and I believe I'm leading the way in this. So thank you for being here. I want to give this awesome value to you in the remastered Will Perry way. So there's 5 different videos. I've put them on. You can come back to this at any time. Save it in your bookmarks, so it's easy for you to get onto. I'll probably say something at the start of each one, but thank you for being here. And I think I'll just let you go on and get the feel of this, because there's so much to this subject that people are not aware of. So look at the headings, the 5 different headings. These different areas. I want to cover this stuff. I want to help you understand what's holding you back, why it's holding you back, and how you can overcome that stuff. All right, I'll stop talking. We'll just dive into the first live. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Speak to you soon. All right, bye-bye. So this is a kind of series of videos I'm doing. Just tonight is on what low self-esteem is and how it's formed. So I want to share this stuff with you because it's so important. Let me just adjust. So as ever, I'm going to start with, and please comment below, I will come back to you, if not immediately. So I'm going to start with low self-esteem, or self-esteem is at the heart of every aspect. I always start the same. Every aspect of life. Yes, every aspect of life. And if you have low self-esteem, it will fuck up every aspect of your life. Absolutely. Whether it's now, later, at some point. Hi Ishma, how you doing? And the analogy for having low self-esteem is like driving through your life with the handbrake on. Hi Heather. With your handbrake on, everybody's going fast. It's generally it's slow, but everybody seems to be, slipping on past. Having a great, easy life, building successful business, getting what they want, achieving their goals. But you're not. But you're putting more effort into it because you've got your handbrake on as you journey through life. All right. So having low self-esteem is like having a handbrake on as you drive through your own life. You will have the feeling, the programming, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, you're not good enough to succeed, you're not clever enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worthy, you don't deserve it, you don't deserve that amazing person that you're with. You keep putting yourself down, you keep saying, oh, I'm ugly, I'm stupid. You might be full of self-loathing, you cut yourself, you burn yourself, you pull your hair out, you do all sorts of things, bulimic, anorexic, all sorts of things that just destroy you because you have such low self-worth. Hi Sarah, hi Heather. Now this is what low self-esteem is. And it completely fucks up every aspect of your life. I have to be really, really blunt because it doesn't just go away. You can unfriend me, you can block me, but that doesn't do anything to your low self-esteem. It takes a specific system to work through to be able to overcome and grow your self-esteem. So this is starting really help a deeper understanding of what it is. So here, the tap. This is how we learn. How do we learn self-esteem? We don't sit down at any point, either at school or with our parents, and told, today we will learn about self-esteem. So, no, it's drip-fed to us. That's the tap, the faucet, the drip feed, all through our life. But particularly in the early stages, when we're growing up. Are we brought up around positivity or negativity? Is it you will succeed? You can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. You can work through this stuff. You can work. I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. That patience, that nurturing that develops a child's emotional maturity. all right, so that they believe in themselves. Were you brought up around that or not? Was it negative, that your negativity that was fed and that you were brought up around? All right, because that wasn't your fault, clearly. All right, so low self-esteem isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. All right, because you can do something about it. You can learn new ways, better ways to be. And it's so important to know that, because when I discovered this 10 years ago, nobody was out there doing this stuff or telling me, oh, this is what low self-esteem is. You could just do this and do this particular sequence. So I'm kind of forging the way with this stuff, and it's really important to me. You can probably tell I'm really passionate about it. How can it say low battery? Oh my God, when I've charged it. Anyway, so I'll keep it shorter. This leads to, if it's negativity, this will lead to a sad face, sad face being, you're down on yourself, which is no good. That's awful. It's terrible. You undermine yourself. You think you're not good enough. You're not worthy. You don't deserve it. You're ugly. You're really negative. And that goes straight into the subconscious of your brain. That's the programming, the belief that's formed in your brain. And you genuinely believe that. If you have low self-esteem, it will fuck up every aspect of your life, because you genuinely believe that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're ugly perhaps, and you can have one to a greater extent than the other. Or perhaps you have all of them stacked up. And it's just dripping negativity in the past. And it's just formed a really strong belief in the back of your brain. That's your brain, by the way. And it's very different from confidence. Confidence, that's this bit, is that you can work on something, practice something. Practice makes perfect. You consciously work on something until you become good at it. And you can have low self-esteem and be good at something. So I could speak in front of hundreds of people because I had the confidence, but inside I was going, oh crap, oh bloody rubbish, oh God, you sounded stupid, inside, but people didn't see that. So what you see on the outside isn't necessarily what's going on in the inside. And I'm sure if you have low self-esteem, you will know that. So what's this one? This one this is just a fantastic story, just an awful story about a demonstration about how we learn low self-esteem. All right, a wonderful story that I heard very recently from a lady with low self-esteem. She was recounting her story, and I said, where did you get it from? And she said, oh yeah, her mum had low self-esteem. She's always had that low self-esteem. She was bulimic, and lo and behold, the daughter was bulimic. And it's like, wow, okay. How did you pick up, this is a great example, how did you pick up low self-esteem, and how did you pick up bulimia? And she said, apparently, my mum told me at the age of 3, I would take myself to the toilet after eating and be sick, make myself sick. I just think that's horrific. A 3-year-old, they found the 3-year-old taking itself to the toilet after dinner to be sick into the toilet. And the mum thought she was doing that nobody knew, that, after eating that she'd just quietly take herself to the toilet. She thought nobody knew. And it was only when she was about 12 or 13 that her daughter found out that as a 3-year-old she was doing that. But even so, she took on this habit as a teenager and a woman. She took on this habit, this negative, destroying habit, a self-sabotage habit of being sick, being bulimic, just causing damage to herself because of her low self-esteem, because of how she felt unworthy and disgusting and awful. Isn't that awful? A 3-year-old. And the mother thought nobody knew. So if you think, oh, I don't talk about this stuff, I don't give any negativity, I'm not drip feeding negativity to the kids, you bloody are. Absolutely, I promise you are. Because it doesn't, it's not just in the things we say, it's the things we act, the things, oh, silly me. It's just in every aspect of life. Every aspect of life. All right? It will fuck you up in every aspect of your life if you have low self-esteem. So you need to, if you have low self-esteem and you want to drip feed positivity to your kids, you need to overcome your self-esteem. You can't just fake it with the kids, because they will do that. Promise you. And if you've been brought up perhaps around alcoholism or substance abuse or something like that by a parent or a carer, and their number one focus, their priority was their habit, rather than this nurturing, caring aspect for you as a child and your emotional well-being, then you'll have low self-esteem. That's a kind of environment, and that makes sense, does it not? That environment would breathe that sort of low self-esteem. All right, and that wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility, because you can do something about it. Now, this I put here. This is this push-pull, this attachment, abandonment. I don't know if you heard or you feel, you have abandonment issues. That's very common with low self-esteem. that because of perhaps a separation, maybe as in a divorce with your parents, or separation anxiety from being abandoned, literally abandoned or left alone for periods of time, or not understanding what was going on in your environment, and how could you, because you were a child, that can leave you very insecure, very needy, very demanding in a way, emotionally, and very wanting to attach yourself and then push away and get lots of positivity and confirmation of who you are and how attractive you are, only to push it away and refute it. Very confusing aspects because you really deep down feel you're not good enough, you're not worthy, and you're ugly and disgusting. I mean, this is really destructive stuff, is it not? Hi Lindsay, hi, how you doing? Lovely to have you on. And you can catch up on this on the replay. And this last aspect, you might have had awful things, things that shouldn't happen to kids happen to you. And that's around the abuse. You might have been brought up around a battlefield, an environment of where you had to walk on eggshells because of the parents, Or you might have been experienced to abuse. And unfortunately, so many women I speak to have been abused sexually by a family member, by an uncle, by a babysitter, by a father, a stepfather. And that just shouldn't happen, but it does, all right? It does. And it's not your fault, clearly, all right? But you can overcome this stuff, all right? And you can overcome the damage that it causes. But of course, as kids, you don't know what to do with it. How could you? You compartmentalize it, put it somewhere, but it will seep out and it will fuck up every aspect of your life, all right? But you can overcome this, I promise you. So this is just the first bit, where it's formed. It's the drip, 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 drip feed from your childhood. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility, which is cool because you can overcome it, all right? It's just a sequence of events that you need to take yourself through, a process that you need to take yourself through to overcome it, which is such good news. And then you'll attract positivity in your life, all right? Rather than negativity, rather than no money, rather than battle and strife and trouble. You'll always have challenges in life, but you'll be able to overcome them with balanced self-esteem, rather than being beaten down by them. So where you think you're not good enough, you can't battle through and just get over stuff when you believe deep down in the brain that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, and that you're ugly and disgusting and nobody would want to talk to you anyway because you're so horrendous. And it's beautiful people that think that, It's no matter what I say. It's not me ordaining and saying, oh, you're one of the pretty ones. You're ugly. Oh dear. No, it's not that. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone has a wonderful side to them, aspects to them. But it's how you think about yourself on the inside. That's what you need to overcome. And it's deep in your brain, in your subconscious, and it's changing that programming for good, for positivity. And that's very different from confidence. Very, very different. And you take a different approach if it's purely confidence. So what we're going to talk about in the next series is about family, about how the patterns can be repeated without you realizing it, the negative patterns. We're going to talk about the patterns can be repeated into your relationships, really terrible, awful relationships, and you attract. Do you feel unlucky in love? So we'll talk about that. About this abuse side, about sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, because it's only people with low self-esteem that experience those things, all right? So we want to talk about that. And lastly, the partners that are similar to you. So not abusive partners. Maybe you've got a real nice partnership, but they also have low self-esteem, and there are inherent problems with that. So plenty more to talk about. That was, thank you for the first one. 1 down, 4 to go. Awesome. So that's what it is and how it's formed. Now, the next one, I mean, you can see the title already. The next one is about family, how it's, just dive into the family one. I think you'll find it really interesting. All right.